13.
Once you get that high, who cares?
Yeah, that's right.
I mean,
I read that the other day.
They really didn't like Branch to steal 13 bases while he was catching. Gary Carter, what an old count. One and one. That has to be some sort of record.
I think it is. I believe it is.
Well, we've been told that Dwight Gooden is getting the ball up to the plate 94 miles per hour, but the surprising thing is this guy, Nolan Ryan, he's 93. When do you start losing something up the heater?
It's amazing. He is an amazing specimen.
One of the hardest workers I've ever seen, Nolan Ryan. I remember watching him just work out before a ball game. Of course, power pitcher, you need those strong legs, and boy, he works so hard. 1 and 2 on Gary Carter, who struck out his first time up. Down low, 2 and 2. 3 hits for each ball club in this game. Kind of a quiet game so far. 1-0. The Mets on top of the Astros. Most of the action throughout baseball at night. Gary Carter takes outside. 3 and 2. How many times do you think Nolan Ryan has gone to 3 and 2 in his career?
A bunch. He went about 450 starts before he pitched a ball game where he didn't walk a hitter.
That's wild.
That's wild. No, it's not wild. Or it's very wild, I should say.
Very, very.
What is not wild is Roger Clemens pitching 1 game this year and striking out 20 and not walking a hitter. You consider the fact Nolan Ryan went almost 450 starts without walking a hitter. Clemens pitches 1 game, strikes out 20 and doesn't walk a hitter.
That's not wild. There's a shot. Error. And Denny Walling right through his legs. No place to hide.
Well, I tell you, a lot of the things we talk about on the air, you can work at home. Just bend down and touch your toes from your hip and see where your hands are. They're back. Now look at Walling's hands. See, his rear end's not down. When the rear end's not down, now watch his hands. See where his hands are? His hands are back. That's why you play the ball under the hop. It's easier said than done, however. But if the ball comes up on you and takes a bad hop, that's one thing. The ball should never stay down and go through an infielder's legs, but it did just then because Walling's rear end was not, you know, when you bend your rear end, you get your rear end down, the hands go out. When your knees are straight and you bend from your waist, your hands are back between your legs.
Okay, everybody
work on that.
Everybody get back in their chairs now.
That's right. It's a great thing to work on the 4th of July. It's perfect.
Did you little herniated discs all over the place?
People be suing me malpractice suits for announcers.
1-0 at Danny Heath. Outside, 2-0. Danny Heath will be followed by Howard Johnson. Danny has an infield hit in his ball game. Ball 3. 3-0. You know, talking about Roger Clemens tonight, he struck out 20 hitters. A guy hit a home run in that ball game, and he's no longer in baseball. Norman Thomas. Here's Howard Johnson talking to Rafael Santana. There's a strike. 3-1. Beautiful day. Happy birthday to the great country of America. Festive occasion here in New York. We have tall ships and we have good baseball. The ladies' light is shining bright again. There's a shot. Ooh, boy. Doran knocks it down. A 4-6. No double play. Boy, Bill Doran just took a base hit away from Danny Heath. He smoked this ball.
Little two-hopper, and Doran does all he can just to get one out. They almost turned the double play. Carter going in hard at second base. Ball really hit hard. You're right, friend. Man, that ball was smoked. Look at Carter. Carter went down late, and that's probably the reason that Reynolds made that bad throw. Had it been a good, strong throw, they may have had Heap at first base.
I think they would have gotten him. Well, Heap is on first base. 1 out. And the batter, Howard Johnson, who walked his first time up. Takes that breaking ball down and in, ball 1. At home, the Mets are 26-10. On the road, 27 and 11. 53-21 record. Outstanding 12.5 game lead over the Expos. The Expos will play the Atlanta Braves tonight. Foul tip, inadvertently fouled off by Howard Johnson.
Fran, the most stolen bases in a game by one club since 1900. Sounds like the $64,000 question. Since 1900, the New York Yankees in the American League stole 16 bases September 28, 1911.
Wow.
The pensive rally caps today. They usually have the rally caps with the balls sitting on top and the beaks turned up. In the National League, the Giants stole 11 in 1912, and the Cardinals stole 11 in 1916 against Pittsburgh. And I assume that was the game that Ricky was catching.
Cardinals.
Most stolen bases in a game since 1900. Cardinals against Pittsburgh. For both clubs in a game since 1900.
No, I think Ricky caught, he was catching for the Yankees.
Oh, he was?
Yeah.
Well, that had to be the 15 then.
Yeah.
That sound right?
Yeah, it's 13. Well, he must have come out of the game because it was 13 while he was catching. As Howard Johnson takes ball 2, 2-2. Those ball players knew what Branch was going to do to him when he was a general manager, so they took advantage of him.
Well, there were some players that did think Branch was stealing when
Ralph's was. Strike 3, good curveball.
Well, that's the pitch that made Nolan Ryan the complete pitcher. That pitch right there. When a hitter has to look for that, along with that 93-mile-an-hour fastball, 93 plus in his younger days, you got to cope with the two different speeds, and you can't cope with both of them.
Rafael Santana's the batter. He hit into a 4-6-3 double play in the second inning. Safe to say Nolan might have the two best pitches
over the longest period of time. Of course, Carlton, the fastball and slider that he's thrown over a long period of time.
Two great pitches.
Tom Seaver's made a lot of adjustments, a lot of changes in his style of pitching. Most guys have to, and this guy hasn't. It's amazing.
It really is. Just a great body, a great arm, and he's had an arm operation. He had an arm operation with the Angels, and boy, we were happy in Kansas City. He came into town throwing bullets. We didn't believe he had the operation. 1-0 on Santana. They check Heap at first base. I understand the 4 best pitches anybody's ever had was Sudden Sam McDowell. One and 0 on Santana. 1-1.
Sam certainly did not utilize those pitches to the best of his ability.
He'll be the first one to admit that. Sam working with some of the ball clubs on alcohol rehabilitation. Here's Dwight Gooden. He's to follow Santana. The Mets are 32 games over 500. Foul tipped off of Miserak, the catcher. So the count stays 1-2.
Only 2 times since 1972 has Nolan Ryan registered under 30 starts a year. 21 in the strike-shortened season, of course, in 81, and then in 83 he had 29. That is remarkable. Bunch of pitches.
And he checks Heap again. Doesn't look like Nolan's slowing up at all either. As we mentioned, he's been timed at 93 miles per hour this afternoon. He just came off the disabled list. Two balls and 2 strikes. His control has helped him and hurt him. Being a little bit wild. A hitter's never comfortable against Nolan Ryan, but of course, if you're a lot wild, you're going to walk a lot of hitters. Swung on and missed, strike 3. So Nolan Ryan strikes out Rafael Santana, his 6th strikeout of the ball game. Mets fail to score. They leave a runner stranded at the end of 4. It's 1-0 Mets. Jose Cruz will lead it off for the Astros. He'll be followed by Greg Reynolds and then John Miserak as we go to the top of the 5th inning here at Shea Stadium. The Mets 1, the Astros 0. He's a Met fan. Not sure if he wants to be a catcher or an infielder.
One thing's for sure, he's probably a left-hander.
And speaking of left-handers, here's Jose Cruz. Coming into this season, 86 three-baggers among active players. He ranks 4th. Of course, he played in an artificial surface in Houston. I think most of your triple hitters or guys that lead the league in triples are the top 5 and 10 playing that artificial surface as Cruz takes strike. Also your doubles leaders.
But not the best hitter in baseball, Wade Boggs.
No. There's a strike 0-2. We were talking up in Montreal about the Boston Red Sox. Most of the guys who've led the league and played with the Boston Red Sox in batting average have been left-handed hitters. Only 2 right-handed hitters did it. Jimmy Fox did it. And Carney Lansford in the strike-shortened season of '81. 1-2 on Cruz. Fouled off. On Cruz. Oh yeah, we have an anniversary today here in the booth. Up high, 2-2, the 10th anniversary of that Grand Slam home run.
No, it wasn't. It's a Grand Slam single.
That's what I was going to say. That wasn't the Grand Slam home run. It was a Grand Slam.
But it wasn't a Grand Slam home run.
Because you went around the first base. You had good
passed
speed.
Gary Maddox.
Because of that speed.
Passed the fastest guy on the club like he was standing still.
Well, you can run. No doubt about it.
He was standing still.
10 years ago today.
That's correct. 10th anniversary.
Do we have a tape of that?
I've tried to destroy all the tapes.
Here's the 2-2 pitch. And a fly ball to left field. Danny Heath coming in and makes the catch. 1 down. And now for our famous quotes. Uttered by Tim McCarver, my kingdom for an out. Uttered by Tim McCarver with 2 men out at the bottom of the 19th inning at 3:55 a.m. July 5th, 1985. What was that score? 16-13? That was an interesting evening, wasn't it?
Yep. Actually, tomorrow at 4 a.m., that'll be the anniversary of that, right?
That's right. You'll probably be celebrating that as the balls hit the Darryl Strawberry. 2 outs.
And what do you mean by that?
You know, relaxing. Well, 4 a.m., though, that's too late.
Right. My kingdom for a horse is the original quote, of course, from Richard III.
Richard III. Yeah, I was wondering who he played for.
Never been a grandfather, father, or never been 3 generations of players in Major League Baseball. A lot of father and son combinations, of course.
John Miserak, the batter, hits a high fly ball, and Rafael Santana fights the son, and he wins out, making that catch for out number 3. So here in the 5th for the Astros, 3 up, 3 down. At the end of 4.5, it's 1-0 Mets.
For 1 in New York sports.
Well, how about that shot? Here's looking at you. Oh,
My sister lives in Chicago now, and we do keep in touch. So I'm contrary to Ozzie Virgil Sr. and his sister.
And here's Dwight Gooden. Dwight walked his first time up. Takes that heater inside, ball one.
That was previewed here on Sportschannel that night, right?
That's right.
How can you not know your brother was fired and joined a new ball club? 3 months.
Yeah, that's bad. Fouled out of play, 1-1.
Ozzie did finally get in touch with his sister, though. Told him where he was. Yeah, that was all straightened out. We called him down in Texas. Told him his sister was trying to get in touch with him. He said, well, he'd talk to her. And we're just trying to help.
I wonder if she knows where her nephew is.
Baseball's not the most important thing. Keeping the family together.
There's a ground ball, second base. Score that 4-3, 1 down. Does Ozzie know where his son is?
He's in Atlanta. Those Atlanta Braves, by the way, playing excellent baseball. They're only a game and a half back in the National League West. That accordion division, they ought to call it.
Boy.
Keep squeezing back and forth.
How about the Padres, only 2.5 out?
Yeah.
Cincinnati in the basement, they're 8 games back, but they're not completely out of it.
They're tied with the Dodgers. Cincinnati, or I beg your pardon, the Dodgers now 7.5 back. Cincinnati after losing to the Phillies 7-3 last night. San Francisco in first place. Houston in second, half a game back. Atlanta a game and a half. San Diego 2.5.
And Lynn Dykstra, the batter here, 1 ball, no strike count. He doubled and grounded to short, so he's 1 for 2. We're in the top of the 5th inning, 1 man down. Nolan Ryan against Dwight Gooden. Bottom of the 5th, it's 1-0. The Mets on top of the Astros. John Mizrak having a bit of a problem hanging on to Nolan's heater today.
Looks like he's catching with one of those ejectors back
really
there.
It does. He's been beaten up, and they're only in the 5th inning.
You talked about Bill Dickey before. I'll tell you a story about him and my problems catching. You mentioned how he helped Yogi Berra. Well, Bill Dickey almost signed with the Yankees, and I've told you that before here on Sportschannel, but Bill Dickey, as a present, my first professional mitt, actually, he gave me my first professional baseball mitt, catcher's mitt.
Ball 4.
And the thing had some foam rubber around the edge of it, and you talk about having problems. I couldn't catch a ball in the pocket. Boy, it hit that foam rubber and catapulted out of that glove like it was a rocket launcher. Balls used to go 30 feet from me. I mean, I caught for a half a year. I didn't have enough money to buy another one. That was the reason I didn't. I caught for a half a year, and finally in my first spring training, Eddie Stanky, the farm director of the Cardinals, said, son, you're going to have to get a new glove. That glove is not meant to catch. He said, you ought to hit with that glove. Balls jump off of that thing like it's...
Wally Beckman's a line drive, but Jose Cruz is right there, makes the catch. 2 down. Here's today's quiz. Gary Carter has set a new Mets record with 11 sacrifice flies this season. The Astros record is 12. Who holds that record? How about Rusty Staub?
Good. I'd say Jose Cruz.
Okay. Keith Hernandez steps in. I got to ask you a question, Tim. Now, Bill Dickey gave you the glove. He was scouting for the Yankees.
Right. Lives in Little Rock. Still lives in Little Rock.
You signed with the Cardinals. Did he give you the glove after you signed?
Yeah. Yeah.
That was the problem.
Yeah.
He wanted to do you in.
He was a nice man and still a good friend.
Great catcher. There's a strike to Keith Hernandez.
Holds the record along with Johnny Bench for most consecutive seasons of 100 games or more, as you see Larry Anderson tossing lightly. 13 seasons Bill Dickey caught 100 games or more. So did Johnny Bench.
Ray Schock, an old-timer, caught 11 years. In fact, Ray Schock is the guy who started backing up first base. Early 1900s.
Gary Carter's caught 100 games or more 9 years in a row. Outside chance to tie that record.
How about that guy right there, Yogi Berra. Great catcher. mentioned earlier when he started in 1948, pitchers got him out from behind the plate. Didn't like throwing. Yogi said, first off, all he wanted to call was for the fastball.
Of course, they didn't have a head. They couldn't shake him off.
That's right.
No, that's too easy.
Those
pitchers have all types of excuses, believe me.
And Lenny Dykstra breaks the second, then holds his ground, and there's a ground ball up the middle. And Craig Reynolds made the play. When Lenny faked, Craig Reynolds broke the second, took a base hit away from Keith Hernandez.
Right.
So Keith is now 1 for 3, and that'll do it for the Mets here in the bottom of the 5th. They fail to score, leave one man stranded. There's the score, 1-0 Mets. Well, Hal Lanier, who turned 44 years old today, the manager of the Astros, will send this guy up to pinch hit for Nolan Ryan. Louis Meadows attended North Carolina State. And he takes a strike from Dwight Gooden.
Well, the reason for this, Ryan would normally be the pitcher and hitting right now with a 1-0 ball game.
There's a pop-up into shallow right field, and Wally Backman makes the play, 1 down. Well, we're going to take a look at that quiz. Gary Carter has set a new Mets record with 11 sacrifice flies this season. The Astros record is 12. Who holds that record? I say a young Rusty Staub.
You've already said it, and I said Cruz.
Right. Okay. Ray Knight. All right.
All right. That's good.
We're just testing to see if they were on top of things downstairs. There's Ray. Having a great year with the Mets. Ball down low to Bill Doran.
To complete that thought about Nolan Ryan, Hal Lanier told me that they are limiting his pitches. No more than 70 pitches. So Nolan Ryan seems like he threw more than that.
I thought well, maybe Hal's a little confused because last night he told me 125 and he told you 70.
125?
Pitches, yeah.
Well, he didn't throw 125, but he threw more than 70.
So maybe he figured, well, he told you 70, me 125.
Yeah, maybe it's somewhere in between. 125, then, you know, what's the average? About 105? 110 maybe?
Not for Dolan.
So maybe for, oh.
And Bill Doran just walked. So Doran down on first base, and the batter will be Ty Gainey. He's 1 for 2. He doubled to left field and grounded to second base.
But because of that sprained medial collateral ligament, he was limited to a number of pitches, and Hal thought that that number of pitches was up, and that is the reason that Louis Meadows pinch hit for Nolan Ryan.
Ty Gainey.
1 out. We're at the top of the 6th inning, 1-0. The Mets on top of the Astros. Ty Gainey, the batter, and they check Doran at first base. 26 SBs this year for Doran.
That's a career high. He has, however, been caught 13 times.
We talked about stances before. Here's a guy with an open stance. Steps in and fouls the ball off. 0-1. The guy who's been able to master that type of stance and hit the ball pretty well since going to that stance is Brian Downey. Right-handed hitter, plays left field for the California Angels, has an open stance and then strides into the ball.
Well, it's not advisable for a young player to take a stance like that because you got too much to do with your front side. It's better to have that front side in position rather than to work it into position. Because if you have it into position, then all you have to worry about are the hands.
Fouled off. 0-2. Yeah, too much movement. Brian Downey went through a transformation as a player. He started lifting weights. He got a build like Popeye and really started crushing the ball. When he first came up, he was a pretty decent catcher, but didn't do much with the bat. And then all of a sudden started lifting weights.
I tell you, this young man right here, Ty Gainey, is some kind of put together.
Oh, yes.
Batted .362. Came up a few days ago and is hitting all 3 starts. Came up when Billy Hatcher was put on the DL. Pardon me, Fran.
And he has no 2 count. It's now 0-3. Strike 3. 2 down.
Second strikeout for Dwight Gooden. Lord Charles right here. Oh, Carter did a good job holding that ball. A lot of times you get down on one knee and you hold that ball and you give the umpire a good shot. And he gave home plate umpire Ed Montague a good shot, and Gooden punched him out of there.
And one of the sins committed by a lot of catchers is coming up too soon with the man on first base. Usually happen to a young catcher or a guy that's relatively tall, although Carter's pretty big. 2 outs, and the batter now Denny Walling, who's 1 for 2, and they check Doran at first base. We have a beautiful 4th of July afternoon here in New York. There's the line score, 1-0 Mets on top of the Astros. Here in the top of the 6th, I'm Fran Healy along with Tim McCarver and Ralph Kiner. You're watching all the action exclusively on Sportschannel. A ball pulled foul by first base coach Matt Galante, St. John's University graduate.
Carter looking down at Dennis Menke giving the signs. A lot of third base coaches, like a lot of runners, they overly nonchalant either sign giving or their lead at first base. And sometimes that's the biggest tip-off that a runner may be running.
Here's Dennis Menke.
They give you that old whistling act. Give a sign, turn around toward the outfield.
They check Doran at first base.
Give me that la-di-da-di-da-da-da. You know, nothing could be on now. I'm too relaxed. And then boom, something happened.
There's Dennis Menke. Flashing signs. As I mentioned, Matt Galante, the first base coach. And there goes Doran. And there's a fly ball. And there's Lenny Dykstra. And there's the catch. Out number 3. So that'll do it for the Astros here in the top of the 6th. They fail to score. 1 man left at base. At the end of 5.5, it's 1-0 Mets.
He was released, if you remember, by the Phillies back in the middle of June, and has done a good job for Houston. 24 2/3 innings of work, struck out 9 and walked 14. Larry Anderson, and the one thing you can look for to left-handers, and he'll be facing Strawberry first, he loves to pitch left-handers inside.
And as you mentioned, Tim, he'll face Strawberry, then Gary Carter, and then Danny Heap as we go to the bottom of the 6th inning. We have a 1-0 ball game here on the 4th of July. All the tall ships surrounding the Statue of Liberty.
When did the statue come to the United States? October 28, 1886? Was that the date?
I'm not sure, but it came from France.
Yeah? I saw the diminutive copy of the statue, 1965 in Paris, right on the Seine there.
Well, just think of what it meant to so many people over the years.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, boy.
Right. Our nation being the immigrant nation that it is, the big melting pot back in the early 1900s. All the ethnic groups that settled in New York, Boston, Philadelphia.
Yeah, everybody wanted to come here and still do. Greatest nation in the world as Darryl Strawberry steps in and takes outside from Anderson. Ball 1. 1-0 on Darryl Strawberry. As we mentioned, Darryl with 2 long home runs last night. And there's that ball inside. 1-1. Hits a rope in the center field, and a nice catch by Ty Gainey.
The reason Gainey went down like that, that was one of those knuckleballs. Ty smiling. That's that knuckleball, and a center fielder will catch a ball like that much like a catcher tries to catch the knuckleball. Strawberry hit it so hard that it had that dead spin on it. I mean, he hit that ball hard.
And that knuckleball can do some damage to your thumb out there in the outfield and the infield. Ball dip and ruin your thumb. Anyways, Gary Carter is the batter, and he hits a rope in the center field. This will fall in front of Gainey. So Gary Carter has his first hit of the ball game. And the Mets have a runner on first with one man down. That'll bring up Danny Heap. Danny in his ball game has an infield hit, and he grounded into a 4-6 force play. So he's 1 for 2. Mets hammering the ball this year. They have 131 doubles, 14 triples, and 75 home runs. As Heap takes down low ball 1. That's compared to last year at this time. They had 94 doubles, 12 triples, and 53 home runs, and they were hitting the ball pretty good last year. Ball driven into the crowd, not a play. 1-1. Well, Nolan Ryan started this ball game. He's now in the clubhouse. Larry Anderson on in relief. Inside. 2-1. Heap will be followed by Howard Johnson. Another foul ball. 2-2. Well, tomorrow night you can catch all the action again right here on Sportschannel. The Mets and the Astros. So if you can't make it out to Shea Stadium, keep your dial right there, and we'll come right back to you tomorrow night. Then the finale will be Sunday afternoon right here at Shea Stadium. Strike 3. So Danny Heap goes down looking. 2 outs.
That's that tailing fastball on the inside part of the plate. Did come right back over the plate. And a good pitch by Larry Anderson. Anderson is with the Houston Astros. He's with his 5th major league ball club. Released from the Phillies, as we said.
Howard Johnson hits a rope down the first baseline, and Glenn Davis gloves it, and that'll do it for the Mets here in the bottom of the 6th. They fail to score. They leave a runner stranded at the end of 6. It's 1-0 Mets on top of the Astros.
Besting Nolan Ryan. Nolan Ryan worked 5 innings and gave up only 3 hits. He's been relieved by Larry Anderson, and relieving Fran Healy, Ralph Kiner.
Good pitching duel on a beautiful day for baseball, a day that Abner Doubleday must have selected for the start of baseball. July 4th, pretty good day to have a doubleheader.
Sure is.
Remember the days when you used to have doubleheaders and holidays?
Yeah, doubleheaders on holidays, doubleheaders on almost every Sunday, and Monday's off. Not an off year for Glenn Davis. What a good-looking player he seems to be. 17 home runs on the year. Breaking ball is low from Gooden.
I remember Al Rosen saying to me, Tim, he says, you got to see this boy Davis. He can hit it. This was 3 years ago. He's hit it well 17 times this year.
He had 20 home runs last year in his rookie season. He is not playing in the easiest of home run parks either.
He's hit 9 of his home runs on the road, so he's hit 8 in the Astrodome.
That's a lot. Matter of fact, 2 years ago, the whole team only hit 18 in the dome. Fastball for a strike.
It's that wind that blows in all the time.
The air conditioning. Good breaking ball. Oh, boy. Off the table. 1-2.
There it is.
Ow.
Oh, that's a big one right there.
Another curve is high. 2-2.
Dwight throws different types of curveballs. I don't know whether he does it on purpose or not. But he does have that big one you saw there on the replay, and then he throws one that's a smaller, tightly wrapped curveball. I really think he does it by accident.
Yeah, I do too. Fastball hit deep to center. Dykstra back, shading the eyes, and he makes the catch. Boy, that sun must be tough. Dykstra fighting the sun all the way.
Till you've played a sun field, you don't realize how tough this is. He's got to get the ball out of the sun. Now, you do that by maneuvering your body around. If it stays right in the sun, you can't see it. And you have to twist and turn and try and work it out of there. And even though you got the glasses down, you can't see it if it's in the heart of that sun.
Kevin Bass, 1 for 2. He singled and then was picked off promptly. Swing and a miss, 0-1. 3 hits for Houston, 4 for the Mets. The Mets with a tenuous 1-0 lead.
And the Mets with that 1 run averting the shutout. They have not been shut out this year.
This in their 75th ball game. Well hit right field. Strawberry back. This ball is out of here. Home run, Kevin Bass. So the game's tied 1-1.
Kevin Bass, the player of the month of June for the Houston Ball Club. And here in July on the 4th, he hits a home run, his 12th of the year. Little short swing, he really got on it. And Bass coming on to be an outstanding ball player, picked up in the Don Sutton trade when Sutton was sent to Milwaukee. And that home run given up by Gooden, the 9th this year.
Cruz fouls one away. It's 0-1. 1-1 ball game. Each side now with 4 hits. Kevin Bass on that down and in fastball. Fastball is inside. 2-1. I beg your pardon, 1-1. 1 out. We're in the top of the 7th. 0-2. Cruz 0 for 2 on the afternoon. Dwight Gooden trying to win his 8th game against the Astros in 9 tries.
And losing his chance for his 3rd shutout. League leaders are Nepper and Valenzuela with 3 shutouts.
Cruz goes for the high fastball. 2-2 to Jose. Fouls this one back. Jose, the proud papa of 3 boys and a girl. All 3 boys are named Jose. First or second name. One of his children's named Jose Cheito, which means in Spanish, Joe Little Joe. A lot of Jose's in Jose's house. 3-2 to Jose Cruz. Fine gentleman.
Picked up for practically no money at all from the St. Louis Cardinals, $25,000. What a bargain.
Stretch that over from 74 to 86. About $1,200 a year. Pretty good investment for the Astros. One of 3 brothers to play in the major leagues, Hector and Tommy Cerrillo. And Jose draws the base on balls. That's walk number 3 given up by Gooden. So Cruz with good speed at first base.
Around to the plate, shortstop, Craig Reynolds.
And Craig Reynolds the batter. He's flying to right and grounded to first. A pinch runner, Tony Walker, for the Astros.
Your attention, please, for the Astros.
Tony even more of a threat to run.
Number 30, Tony Walker.
And we'll see how many stolen bases Walker has. He has 3 and 4 tries. So Walker with good speed. Lanier likes to play that running game. Hal Lanier, the manager of the Astros, and doing such a fine job in his first year. Walker back back. Tough thing to do, pinch run. You're never loose when you go in there. I pulled both quadriceps in my right and left leg. Obviously, since you only have one in each leg. Pitch out. And it's 1-0. Back in spring of 1975, and it got to the point where I had to lift my right leg, which was torn more seriously than my left, to get my right leg up on a curb. That quadricep is a serious, serious injury, and that's what can happen when you pinch run. 1-0 to Reynolds.
That is a big muscle.
Ooh. Walker had 42 stolen bases last year. 42 in 82, 43 in 83, 28 in 84, so he can fly. And a little fake break. Fastball is high, 2-0. That's the thing about the stolen base. A lot of times it's the lack of the stolen base that's more effective.
The anticipation.
Yep.
It's like a knockdown pitch. You think you're going to get knocked down. It's more effective than if you do get knocked down. Then you realize they're not going to throw at you anymore.
There goes Walker. Fastball popped up. Backman under it, and he makes the catch. Well, that was a big pitch in this ball game. And with 2 out, the batter, John Mizrock. Reynolds went after ball 3, actually. High fastball, and rather disgusted. 29,414 total today. 28,557 paid. Pretty good crowd considering all the activity here on the island. Liberty Park. 4th of July. Fireworks last night a couple of times. Doubleheader fireworks in the game and then afterwards. Walker not running, the fastball outside. 1-1, top of the 7th.
Over 50,000 last night in the ballpark.
See where they had 61,000 in Philadelphia last night?
They do well on their fireworks night every year.
Walker just back.
He wants time. I don't know whether it's to tie his shoe or get his breath. This
might have jammed that left foot, Ralph.
Let's look at it again. It is very close. Yeah, he did turn it over. You could see that ankle go over.
Boy, that was a close play. Walker appeared to just beat it. His left ankle appears to be all right. 1-0 to John Mizrock. He's 0 for 1 with a walk today. And Gooden started. Mizrock called time. Montague bailed out, and Walker took 2 steps as if to run.
Everybody was in motion and nothing happened.
5 false starts. Gooden, Carter, Montague, Mizrock, and Walker. And us. Walker looks runnerish, and there he goes. Popped up and out of play. Carter back. And it's about 10 rows back. So it's 1-1 to Mizrock.
Al Lanier, the manager of the Houston Ball Club. Former Major League infielder. His dad, one of the great left-handed pitchers of the 1940s.
Lanier, the 9th manager in Houston Astro history and Colt 45 history. The Astros, the Colt 45s before moving into the Dome in 1965. Walker gave a fake break. Mizrock singles, the throw to third, and Walker's in there. Walker slowed down rounding second, then he picked it up. That's that point about an outfielder getting to the ball and throwing it. Don't try to time the plays.
Well, with 2 men out, the main part of this throw is to make it low so it can be cut off and the runner that hit the ball doesn't go to second. Dykstra did throw it low, so the runner hitting the ball does not go over to second base, even though Walker does get to third. But he's there with 2 men out and the pitcher due up.
It's going to be a pinch hitter, and it's going to be Alan Ashby, the pinch hitter for Larry Anderson. Dykstra was decoyed out on that play as Walker slowed down going around second base.
Number 14, Alan.
And then he went to third. Ashby batting .223. He's 2 for 12 as a pinch hitter. Astros have runners at first and third, 2 out, a 1-1 ball game. They already have 1 in on Kevin Bass's 12th home run of the year. Good cut and fouled it back, 0-1. Ashby came to the Houston Astros back in 1978 in the Mark Lemongello trade. Remember Mark Lemongello, the right-handed pitcher? Came from the Toronto Blue Jays. Curveball and a beauty. 0-2.
Mark got mixed up in a real estate deal down in Florida.
Yeah.
Wasn't considered to be too good.
Another good curveball, and Ashby, through no fault of his own, got a little piece of it.
He was really faked out on the pitch. Lucky to even touch it.
Got him on a strike. Third strikeout for Gooden as Ashby goes down. What a curveball that was. 1 run, however, for the Astros. 2 hits, and they strand 2. After 6 1/2, a 1-1 ball game. We'll be back. The Mets celebrate 25 amazing years in the Equitable Old Timers Day game, July 12th. Tickets are still available.
And fans, you're invited to attend a special day at Shea, Sunday afternoon, July 13th, as the Mets will honor in a pregame ceremony a man who has given us all a lot of memorable thrills over the years, Rusty Staub. Festivities will get underway at 1 p.m. with the final game of the Mets-Atlanta Braves series getting started at 2:05. Tickets are still available and can be purchased at all Ticketron outlets, at Shea Stadium's advanced ticket window, or call 718-507-TIXX for more information. So come on out and help the Mets honor Rusty Staub Sunday afternoon, July 13th.
And the new pitcher for the Astros, Dave Smith, 1-4 record, 16 saves. Tony Walker remains in the game. He'll play, I beg your pardon, Ty Gainey moves from center field to left field, and Tony Walker will stay in the game and play center field. There's Ty. He'll...
He says, I don't need these sunglasses anymore. It's already swung over to right field.
Well, you saw the problem that Dykstra had on the fly ball back in the 7th inning. Looks like he was switching sunglasses. Maybe one of them had a crack in it or something.
I know when I played left field in Yankee Stadium, I took out 2 pair. One pair that was really a dark pair and another pair that was lighter, because the sun would sometimes get mixed in with the clouds, and you needed the lighter pair to handle when the clouds were blocking out some of that sunshine.
Breaking ball is high to Rafael Santana. Tell you one thing, this guy is a tough assignment. Dave Smith. Fastball, forkball, breaking ball. His forkball's his best pitch. Santana 0 for 2. Gooden on deck. Ball 3.
Smith was accused by Roger Craig this year of cutting the baseball.
Ball 4. So for those 4 pitches, he cut them the wrong way. Gooden, the batter, is 0 for 1. He walked first time up, and he grounded to second. He'll be bunting here. Walling in on the grass. The one thing we've noticed about Dave Smith, when he looks at third base, he goes to first. When he looks home, he comes home. Pops it up, and Misrock did not get a good jump on it. And I doubt that he'd have gotten it anyway. The ball wasn't bunted that high. Dave Smith comes set. Get the hands up. If he's looking at third, he'll go to first. If he's looking home, he'll go home. We'll see if he keeps that pattern, true to that pattern. Fouls another one off, 0-2.
When Smith was accused by Roger Craig of cutting the baseball, Smith said, I've known Roger since I was 18, and Roger taught me well.
Roger was a pitching coach for the Astros, of course.
Smith became one of 4 National League relievers to save 8 games in 8 consecutive appearances. He joined Clay Carroll, Goose Gossage, and Bruce Sutter in that department. The record is 10 out of 10, set by Dan Quisenberry.
There, you see him look at third and then go to first? Looked at third, went to first. When he looks at third, that's when he goes. When he looks home, he comes home. That's our third base camera. Fooled us then. And the bunt to Glenn Davis is successful. Scored 1-4. So Santana moves to second base.
Oh, the White pulling off a 2-strike bunt, and most of you know that if the ball is bunted foul with 2 strikes, you're automatically out. Ball over to Davis, and Davis to Doran.
And the batter, Len Dykstra. And now you can start looking for that fork ball, and it is a good one. Dykstra 1 for 2 with a walk. He doubled and scored the first run of the game in the first. It's a 1-1 ball game, bottom of 7. There's the fork ball. Greg Reynolds, the shortstop, in to talk with Smith now. Checking on the signs. Dave from San Francisco, California.
He's holding the ball like you would hold a curveball.
Well hit right field. That's back. Up against the wall. Santana will have to hurry. He scores. 2-1 Mets.
Takes it off the fence. What a job Dykstra is doing. His second double of this ball game. He's now 2 for 3. Off of the base of the fence. Santana, the runner at second, held up to see whether or not it would be caught. He comes in, no play at home, and Dykstra ends up at second with an RBI.
Wally Backman, base, I should say ground ball to Davis. Ball in the hole. Davis got to it quickly. Dykstra moving to third. 2 out. The Mets with 1 in the first and 1 in the 7th. Houston with 1 in their half of the 7th. 2-1, New York on top. Boy, this ball club is relentless, aren't they, Ralph?
Just keep coming at you.
Man.
And it's being spread throughout the lineup.
And throughout the league, too. A strike, 0-1. They played the most dominating brand of baseball I've ever seen through 75 games, I'll tell you that.
And that stat there, it shows Keith's action a year ago today, and that hitting for the cycle, the 4 base hits, a single, double, triple, and home run, got Keith started on a terrific batting streak.
There's the forkball grip right there. That's not with the seams, as his last pitch indicated. And it was a forkball, and it's lifted to left. Gainey in, and he makes the catch, but the Mets take the lead again. 1 run on 1 hit. An RBI double by Dykstra. And after 7, 2-1, New York. We'll be right back. For the Astros, 2-1. A well-pitched ball game, as you see. Each team with 5 hits. The Astros have committed 1 error. Bill Doran leads it off for Houston here in the top of the 8th inning.
For the Astros.
Mets trying to win their 4th in a row over the Houston Astros at Shea Stadium. Doran has walked, grounded to first, and flied to center. Check swing, and he didn't go far enough, says Lee Wire, so it's 1-0 to Doran. Fouls it back, 1-1. Gooden may have a chance to pitch twice in the Astrodome the next time in about 2 weeks, right? Starting the All-Star game, and then he'll pitch against the Astros, I would imagine, either Saturday or Sunday, depending on how many pitches he throws during the game. Fly ball, right center field. Dykstra over. And he makes the play. 1 out. Kind of an unusual occurrence, isn't it? Pitching twice in 1 week.
In 1 week, yeah, 1 series. Whitey Herzog has announced that his opening pitcher will be Dwight Gooden, although it's not official.
Davey Johnson will be a coach in that ball game. Ty Gainey, the batter, he's 1 for 3, doubled in the first. The only run for the Astros coming on a home run by Kevin Bass, his 12th of the year. 2-1, New York. Curveball high.
There they are checking out that baseball for cuts. That's the story we told you about when Roger Craig accused Smith of cutting the baseball.
Balls sure are dirty, aren't they? Like those pine tar. Good check. That's the third one they've looked at.
And they have the advantage because the balls that the umpire gets for the use in the ball game are kept in the Met dugout, the home team dugout. So when they are tossed out of a ball game, they go back into the bag.
So if you're going to cut a ball, do it in your own home park, right?
One time, Joe Torre collected 8 balls that were cut by Don Sutton in the exact same place. And let's put it differently. Let's say that while he was pitching, they found 8 balls that were cut in the exact same place.
More than coincidence, huh?
It's a pretty high coincidence.
I'm sure Chub Feeney took action, right?
Oh, yes. Sutton was kicked out of a ball game for manufacturing some substance on the ball, and he threatened to sue baseball.
Doug Harvey's crew out in San Francisco, as a matter of fact.
Of course, Honeycutt of the Dodgers was caught with a tack on his glove cutting baseballs, and he was suspended.
With a name like that, you got to cut the ball.
Honeycutt cut the ball. Makes a great headline.
2-2 to Gainey. 1 out. We're in the 8th. 2-1 New York. Gooden has struck out 3. He's walked 3. Breaking ball inside. 3-2 to Ty Gainey.
Well, the only reason why Gainey took this pitch, he couldn't hit it.
Can't hit it, take it. Pretty good philosophy. Tell you, he's got a good swing, doesn't he? Good extension, strong, makes contact. Going to be a fine hitter from Cheraw, South Carolina. Ty Gainey.
Born on Christmas Day.
Ah, nice present. Fouls another one off.
He was a teammate of punters Dale Hatcher, who kicks for the Rams, and Harry Newsom, who kicks for the Steelers. Here's a look at his swing. Boy, does he round that knee up. Not a bad-looking swing. A little behind that pitch. Put a little circle in there with that knee, didn't he?
Uh-huh. Another one fouled away. Gooden threw that last fastball. Gainey staying alive. Only one other time this year has Gooden walked more than he struck out. That was the 18th against the Expos, when the Expos scored 6 earned runs against him and 6 in the 3rd inning. Gainey staying tough.
And he got his first extra base hit in the major leagues yesterday, and he got his first stolen base. 2-base hit off Ron Darling, who is the pitcher of ND in last night's ball game. No decision.
Fine job by Ronnie. Struck out 9. Jim Deshaies of the Astros worked 7 innings, striking out 11.
His career high.
Fastball misses. You talk about a quality at bat by Ty Gainey. Fouling off about 6 or 7 pitches and then taking a fastball just off the plate. So Gainey on walk number 4 by Gooden. Got to tip your hat to the hitter sometime. That was a quality at bat.
He fought off a lot of good fastballs there and took that one outstanding curveball for a ball.
That 2-2 curve. Denny Walling, the batter. He has good power. He doubled in the 4th and has twice flied to center. Good fastball hitter. And that's what he's going to get. Right down the middle of the plate. So it's 0-1 to Denny Walling. You know, he takes a lot early in the count to get ahead of the pitcher and look for that fastball. This guy's a good thinking hitter. Really works the pitcher very well. There goes Gainey. Changeup tapped toward third. Johnson over to first. Here goes Gainey out at third. Bad base running. Good throw by Hernandez.
Well, you never make the last out at third base. A gamble here not wisely taken. Gainey running here on the ball. Top ball down to third, picked up by Johnson. He fires the first. Now Hernandez with that gun for an arm just cuts Gainey down, trying to go from first to third on the out at first. Double play.
5-3-6. And if looks could kill. 2-1 New York. Bottom of the 8th coming up. Look has been on Hal Lanier's face for about 5 minutes now. It's 1-1 to Strawberry. Misses the forkball. I am telling you. Not a lot of pleasant thoughts going through his mind right now. Popped up left side. Walling makes the catch, fighting that sun. One away. So Strawberry, after a brilliant night last night, is 0 for 4 this afternoon.
And his 8-game hitting streak is in jeopardy. Might even say triple jeopardy. Not going to hit again unless they go into extra innings.
Right. Gary Carter, the batter, he's 1 for 3. Well, we saw Hal Lanier in last night's game after Strawberry's home run. He was not very happy. He wasn't happy after Knight's home run. And now today, Dykstra's reached up and bitten the Astros. A double to score a run in the 1st, and he doubled in a run in the 7th. It's going to cause wrinkles, Ralph, looking like that.
He's in the wrong business.
Well, it's frustrating business. Manager of a big league club. Carter fouls it back, 1-2. It's interesting how some of the coaches take on the same demeanor as the manager. You can't laugh if the coach is. If the manager's frowning, you better frown.
No fun being on the bench with those managers that don't have a sense of humor.
Fastball outside, 2-2 to Carter.
That manager sets the stage for the whole attitude.
That's right. Well, you remember the harmonica incident back in 1964 with Yogi Berra and Phil Linz. Ground ball to short. There's Reynolds, and he throws out Carter, 2 out. It was after a tough ball game that the Yankees had lost. And Phil Linz was playing the harmonica in the back of the bus, and famous incident now. Yogi went back and said, nobody plays the harmonica when my team loses. Fined him, didn't he? $500 bucks?
I think he sold a harmonica off for more than the fine.
Yeah, Phil made a lot of appearances that year, as a matter of fact, playing the harmonica.
I'll never forget the time he hit it to a triple play while playing for the Mets. Somebody said, what about hitting into the triple play? And he says, anytime you hear 3 roars on 1 ground ball, you know you're in trouble.
Great line. Phil was a very, very nice guy. 2-1 to Danny Heath. Had a good World Series in '64, as a matter of fact, in there for the injured Tony Kubek. Fly ball to center field. Tony Walker under it, and an easy inning for Dave Smith, but it has not been an easy day for the Astros. They trailed 2-1, and they have 3 outs to make up that 1 run. We'll be back. had that in my mind, failed to read it correctly.
That really is amazing.
Not a lot of runs. He has given up 38 earned runs this year.
Gave up a run in the 9th inning of his last ball game.
Mookie Wilson now in left field for Danny Heap. Wilson has popped up a couple of times and fly deep to center field, only 3 for 20 against the Mets. He's tied for the National League lead in home runs with Mike Marshall of the Dodgers. Ground ball to short. High hop, good play, Santana. 1 out. It was a high hop, but an unpredictable hop.
Well, the home run leader, Davis, 1 for 8 so far against the Mets in this series, and that a big out for Dwight Gooden.
I'll say.
Right fielder, Kevin Bass.
Especially with Kevin Bass coming up, who has singled, homered, and the 1 RBI, the only run of this ball game for Houston. Dave Smith stands to be the losing pitcher unless the Astros can muster a run. Strike 1. Change-up, foul back. 0-2 to Bass. Think you ought to hook Bass right here?
I'd go for the hook here for sure. I'd throw out that sinker. Bass hit a home run off a low fastball his last time up.
Fastball down and in, a deadly area for left-handed swingers. Bass has pulled all 3 balls today, and the Met outfield shading him around toward left field. He has shown that he's going to get around on Gooden.
Single to right center his first time up, grounded out to the first baseman his next time up, and homered to right center his 3rd time up. So he has pulled everything Gooden saw.
Fastball got him looking. I'll tell you one thing. That would have gotten me looking, too. I would not have been looking heat on that particular pitch.
And it was a pitch that is not necessarily thrown with a 2-strike count. High fastball, not very high, but out in that outside corner. So Bass is hooked.
Hooked with the heater. And Phil Garner is going to be the pinch hitter for Tony Walker. You remember Walker was the pinch runner for Cruz in the 7th. Made that. No, that was Ty Gainey in the 8th. I was going to say Walker made that mistake, but that was Ty Gainey in the 8th inning, going to third base and being thrown out. 1-0 to Garner. 1-0 curveball, 1-1.
Took something off that curveball. Just lollipopped it in there. Garner, of course, the man who put the Houston Ball Club on top in the top of the 10th inning with a 2-run home run in last night's ball game. He thought he had it won.
Fastball outside, 2-1. He hit that home run off Jesse Orozco on a 3-2 pitch. We are told that Dwight Gooden's still getting it up there 93 miles an hour. Didn't want to swing, but went too far and fouled it back. 2-2. 2-1 game. 2-2, 2 out, top of the 9th. Disposition is not improved.
It's very even. That's a very even disposition.
Garner walks. That is the 5th walk given up by Dwight Gooden. He has struck out 4, and remember, he has walked more than he struck out only once this year. And Hal Lanier may be wanting a pinch runner. Garner has suffered from leg problems this year. He may be getting somebody up also. So we'll see if Garner's going to be running here. You're less inclined to run if you think you're going to make the last out of the game, right?
Well, he doesn't have any power at the plate. And he doesn't have any power on the bench to speak of. Pankowitz might be a power type consideration.
Mizrock's on deck. Fastball's high to Reynolds. Garner does have 8 stolen bases.
He has been a good base runner.
Oh, yeah, he is. So if his legs are healthy, we'll see if he's running. Not going. Fastball's high, 2-0. Reynolds is 0 for 3. He's grounded to first, flied to right, and popped to second. Frank DePino, the losing pitcher in last night's game, gave up the 2 home runs in the 10th inning, is up and throwing. Garner dives back. Grounded sharply. What a play, Hernandez. This game's over. Oh, brother. Keith Hernandez on a spectacular play to end the game and give Gooden his 10th victory of the year. Looks like meeting time for the Astros, doesn't it?
Clubhouse meeting, doors closed.
Dwight Gooden now 10-3, the loser Dave Smith. And yet again, another manager who's drinking water when they're not thirsty. The Mets now 54-21. They lead the Montreal Expos by 13 games. The Expos playing tonight in Atlanta. And here's that last play one more time.
Well, this ball is hit very, very hard. Low fastball. Keith Hernandez a diving stop. Keith with a brilliant double play earlier in the ball game, using that glove to turn Houston away. And here is Carter as he sees the play made. Gooden going right out to Hernandez. He was getting ready to cover on the play at first, and he's right into the picture as the Mets win it. And they have won 2 now over Hal Lanier's Houston Astros.
Well, as Carly Simon would say, but not Hal Lanier, nobody does it better. The Mets now 33 over 500. Ralph and I will be back with a wrap-up right after this.
They also won the first 2 games against Houston, and Houston started in first place in the Western Division. Of course, the Mets are in first place, their highest position they've held this year, and the Mets coming up with an outstanding performance. Keith Hernandez, run batted in the first inning after Dykstra had doubled to put the Mets up 1-0. A home run tied it for Houston as Bass hit one out of the ballpark, and then the Mets got the winning run when Santana walked, was sacrificed to second base. And then with the runner at second base, Dykstra came up with a big base hit, a double off the fence in right field to win it for the Mets by a score of 2-1.
I'll tell you, Ralph, it's unbelievable the way this ball club has played. Everybody talks about how tough it is to play with the big lead. It's the same in a ball game. You get up every morning, you read the paper, you realize you're playing dominating baseball, but the Mets have had the ability, led by Davey Johnson, they've had the ability to go for the throat. They're trying to win this thing as early as they can, and they're playing that type of ball. every day they're taking separately, one game at a time. I mean, they really consider, you know, going out there. They're not looking back and sitting on their laurels. This 75 games, they're 33 over 500 after 75 games. It's amazing.
And they really are playing outstanding baseball, and it's been split right down the ball club. Today it was Dykstra with a great day. Of course, Wally Backman has been doing well. I think the key to the ball club, and it's sort of new type baseball, the 1-2 hitters in the batting order, getting on base, really setting it up for the rest of the ball club.
Dykstra and Backman, of course. Backman had one hit today, but Lynn Dykstra scored one run and drove in the game winner.
He had 2 doubles in the ball game. We'll be back and talk a little more about this ball game today in just a moment, right after this message. Dwight Gooden becomes a 10-game winner as he has picked up the victory. A good performance for Dwight. Not spectacular, but also